Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into a serious topic, the potential signs that could indicate the start of a global conflict, often discussed in relation to the possibility of a third world war. Think of it like checking the engine light on your car. Ignoring it won't make the problem go away. So, what are these ominous signs we should be looking out for? First and foremost, increased tensions between major powers. Specifically, keep an eye on the big players, the US, China, and Russia. We're talking sanctions, trade wars, and military exercises that are less about maintaining peace and more about flexing their arsenals. It's enough to make anyone want to invest in a bomb shelter and a lifetime supply of canned goods. Another red flag to watch out for is the formation of new alliances. These alliances can create a climate of suspicion and mistrust, turning the global stage into a high-stakes game of risk. And let's be honest, we've all been in enough group projects to know that they rarely end well. Now let's talk about the internet, because even global conflicts aren't exempt from our digital lives. A significant increase in cyberattacks targeting critical infrastructure is a major red flag, and if that's not enough to keep you up at night, there's also the ever-present threat of misinformation and propaganda. It's enough to make you want to throw your phone in a river and live off the grid. Next up, we have a classic sign of impending conflict, the arms race. This is all about countries frantically trying to outdo each other in the who has the biggest, baddest weapons department. We're talking about a rapid escalation in the development and deployment of new weapons technologies, including nuclear weapons. And let's be honest, no one wins in a nuclear war. Another potential flashpoint, territorial disputes. These disputes, often fueled by historical grievances, nationalist sentiment, and good old-fashioned greed, can quickly escalate into full-blown conflicts. It's like watching a group of toddlers fight over a toy, except in this case the toy is a strategically important piece of land and the toddlers have access to nuclear weapons. Now let's talk about something that hits a little closer to home, the economy. Severe economic downturns, financial crises, or hyperinflation can destabilize governments, topple regimes, and create fertile ground for extremism and conflict. Think of it like this. When people are hungry, scared, and desperate, they're more likely to make rash decisions like starting a war. It's like the old saying goes, you can't eat money. As the world's population grows and resources become scarcer, competition for things like oil, water, and minerals will only intensify. This competition can easily spill over into conflict, with countries willing to fight and fight dirty for control of these precious resources. And spoiler alert, there are no winners in a resource war. Next up, we have trade wars. Escalating trade disputes, tariffs, and protectionist policies can lead to economic isolation, political tensions, and a whole lot of finger-pointing. It's like watching a group of friends try to split the bill after a very awkward dinner party, except instead of passive-aggressive Venmo requests, they're slapping each other with tariffs and sanctions. Now let's address the elephant in the room: mass migration. Large-scale population movements due to conflict, environmental disasters, or economic collapse can strain resources, inflame social tensions, and create breeding grounds for extremism. It's a stark reminder that we're all connected, and what happens in one part of the world inevitably affects us all. Widespread famine, disease, and displacement of populations are not only tragedies in their own right, but they can also contribute to instability, conflict, and the rise of extremism. It's like pouring gasoline on a fire, except the fire is human suffering and the gasoline is our collective inaction. The failure of organizations like the UN to prevent or resolve conflicts is a worrying sign. It's like watching your parents argue about who forgot to pay the cable bill, except instead of missing your favorite show, it's the fate of the world hanging in the balance. Extreme weather events, droughts, and food shortages caused by climate change are already creating chaos and displacement around the world. And as these effects intensify, they will only exacerbate existing tensions and create new ones. It's like watching a slow-motion train wreck, except the train is the planet, the passengers are all of humanity, and the conductor is, well, that would be us. It's important to note that while these are potential indicators, predicting the start of a world war is extremely complex and involves many interconnected factors. However, this doesn't mean we can just bury our heads in the sand and hope for the best. The world is a complex and interconnected place, and the challenges we face are significant. Stay informed, stay engaged, and let's work together to build a more peaceful and sustainable future.